Now, this is not a video I thought I was going to make. It's another thing that's really ticking me off about eBay. eBay has not been my best friend over the last month or so, but this latest update has really put a cat amongst the pigeons and it's really just rubbed me the wrong way. So I guess the most embarrassing thing is I had no idea this was coming in. I was aware of the increased fees coming in at the start of April. I can't remember what they were called, but it was an extra sort of 2 to 3% on the final value fee. But this matter completely flew under my radar until I logged onto YouTube this morning and watched a video by the Extreme Booters. I watched Jim's video about it and he wasn't happy. And to be honest, after watching his video and reading through the eBay community forum threads about this matter, I got really irate about it. I just could not believe the short-sightedness of eBay management implementing this strategy. So I'm going to talk through it. I'm going to discuss it in detail, what it means to me as a clothing reseller, what it means to the wider picture of selling clothing on eBay, but also, I think on the flip side, try and reason with this sort of matter and how it might be less harmful than I'm initially sort of foreseeing. So basically, the short story is eBay has brought in measures for private sellers, not business sellers, private sellers, where there are no fees for selling secondhand pre-loved clothing. So they are going straight for the vintage audience here, straight for the sort of target audience of vintage. You don't pay fees on vintage, and now eBay obviously wants a slice of that pie. Fine. Okay, if you're just regular person just selling some old clothing, perhaps you don't like selling on vintage for whatever reason, so now eBay is offering you the chance to get rid of your old clothing with no fees to pay, so you can keep as much of that money from the price you sell it for back to you. The thing is though, there's a massive caveat here for the probably thousands of business sellers masquerading as private sellers with their hundreds if not thousands of listings of various clothing bought from wholesale or wherever. They are going to benefit massively from this change. And the worst thing is eBay have done nothing to quash this group of unscrupulous sellers. Like, they are 100% business sellers. There is no way you're going to be a private seller with hundreds if not thousands of items of similar things, you know, countless, let's say North Face fleeces, Patagonia fleeces, Nike tracksuit bottoms, the lot. The same story with vintage. Far too many, probably the same people cross-listing, to be honest, for the most part. People just abusing the system and getting away with it. And now this new introduction, this new, you know, fee-free listing of second-hand clothing, which, let's be honest, is a booming market right now, it's just going to fuel their fire. Whereas genuine, honest business registered sellers like myself and so many people are going to get, once again, have been given the short straw. We're always getting the short straw. Increased fees for us, whereas those that are blatantly abusing the system and blatantly getting away with it, get away scot-free. It is infuriating. And if eBay wasn't such a big platform, if they didn't have a, you know, almost monopoly of the market, they'd fail. As a business, I cannot grasp how eBay functions, but because they're so big, it's such a big company, they can implement these things and people just go, and then just carry on as normal. And the hypocritical thing is, I will probably be doing the same. But can we do anything about this? Because this is beyond frustrating. You know, with all the issues we've had with eBay over the last sort of couple of months, now this, I can see why people are being drawn away to sites like Whatnot, and you know, eagerly awaiting the introduction of Vinted Pro. eBay really aren't helping the genuine, trusted, you know, honest sellers, business registered sellers, doing everything right, doing everything by the book. it's almost like eBay is saying it's better. You get rewarded for doing the wrong thing, whereas if you do the right thing, you get shafted. It just boggles the mind. It doesn't make any sense. And the fact that they've introduced this for clothing, fine, but you can sell lots of things on Vinted. You can sell video games, footwear, bric-a-brac. So now eBay have introduced this for clothing. Are they then going to expand to other categories? Are we going to get to a point where it's like free listings, free fees for most categories for private sellers? And then surely eBay are going to want to recoup the lost revenue from removing these fees, probably back onto us business sellers in another future update. Just speculating, but we know it's going to happen. So yeah, eBay really isn't in my good books right now. And a couple other things have happened to me on a personal level with eBay that just made me think, if only there was an alternative platform that actually acknowledged business sellers and actually appreciated them for who they are and didn't just shaft them, throw them under the bus, whereas giving, like I said, unscrupulous people the chance to just capitalize on their treachery. It's just frustrating. Isn't even the right word for it. It's just complete blindsidedness. It's just a complete farce. As I'm trying not to swear here, but I bloody well want to. I just can't believe it. I honestly can't believe it. And say Jim in his video made these points as well. It just, yeah, why eBay? Why? And there's you ask them about it. The forum post was interesting because people have been to a conference or something where they'd asked eBay representatives about it and they'd just been ignored. So I don't know what to say. So unfortunately, it is what it is. It's been it's been implemented. There's nothing we can do about it. But it is there. Can we do something about this? As a business seller, registered business seller who has to pay oodles of fees and oodles of tax on every sale they make, are there ways in which we can almost counteract this matter? Well, let's ignore the fact that these private business sellers, these business sellers, like I said, masquerading as private sellers, let's ignore them for a minute because they are a problem. It's a problem that may not go away, but hopefully we can work around that. So what can we do? Are there any positives to take from this very negative, pessimistic outlook that I've got on eBay currently? Well, I think there are. I'm fortunate I am a top-rated seller. I've achieved this by obviously sending things out on time, items described as clearly as possible, etc. Supposedly, you do get a percentage reduction on final value fees as a top-rated seller, but it's minimal. And to be fair, with the other fees that they're bringing in, it probably just balances out and neutralizes it. Obviously, there are promoted listings, and obviously it's another way for eBay to make money. The more you promote, the more eBay gets at the end of the sale. But, and for what I've noticed, for the most part, a lot of people sort of masquerading as private sellers, their listings aren't very good. At least, not for what I've come across. So, I'm fortunate, I guess, that I live in a house whereby it has quite a lot of sort of aesthetic merit. So, I've got my mannequin and a nice beige outside wall I use for photographs. So the items look nice, right? For shoes, the bathroom is tiled in a very sort of fancy way. Well, it's not fancy, but there are pattern tiles, and it's quite a good aesthetic for shoes. And then for trousers, the kitchen area is it's not wooden, but it's like sort of wood effect laminate floor. So that provides a nice backdrop too. So I've got good sort of photographic opportunities for stock, which is fine. But I think this is the thing. As long as your listings stand out, there shouldn't be a problem with asking a bit more. If you've got a good reputation on your shop, you've got good clear listings, good photographs, good descriptions, as many recommended things filled in, which I know is the biggest chore known to reselling kind, I think you'll be fine. I just can't see, in the grand scheme of things, I can't see these changes being a massive problem. I think it'll be a problem if you're buying from wholesale, where you really are competing against the unscrupulous sellers within the same sort of category of stuff, you know, like American team stuff, all the stuff you see on the blimmin' adverts about wholesalers, you know, vintage this, vintage that, vintage that. Vintage clothing is not the be all end all. I don't know when people are going to get their heads around it. Vintage clothing, got words twisted there. Vintage clothing is not all that. It really isn't. It just, I don't know what the attraction is. Yes, it's cool that it's been around for a while, but the fact that so many people are jumping on the vintage clothing bandwagon, just don't bother with it. Or if you do, don't make it your sole focus for your eBay shop. There is so much clothing out there that isn't vintage that's better than vintage clothing. You know, go into a charity shop and look through the, say, the sort of formal shirt rail. Look at how many M&S St Michael shirts are on there. Look how many old BHS or just the older, I don't know, not sort of TM Lewin, but just, yeah, older shirts. They're probably older than 20 years. They're vintage. But are they worth buying? Hell no. Not for the most part anyway. So, yeah, vintage clothing is very much, although it's hyped up, it's not the be all end all. And from what I'm seeing, this is the sort of thing that is being, you know, hyped, being, you know, people are encouraged to be buying it through social media because it's like the in thing. So I like to think that that's what the sort of, the people who are mistreating the system, these are the sort of things that they are going to be going after. So if you don't want to sell that, and I certainly don't, I'm not interested in vintage tees at all, not anymore, they don't sell for me, I think you can get around it. I don't think, you know, free listing, free fees even for private sellers isn't the problem. It's the sellers acting as private sellers when they're actually business sellers that are really the problem. But given that a lot of them focus on, like I said, these sort of vintage niches and North Face fleeces and like wholesale fodder, basically, I think if you avoid that for the most part, I don't think this new thing is going to be a problem. Whether this new thing extends to other categories, that may well become a problem. But I think for clothing, we might be all right. But this is just me speculating. I'm just sort of trying to weigh up the pros and cons. There are more cons, don't get me wrong, but I think there are some pros to this as well. Okay, not pros. There's this consistency. I don't think it, hopefully it won't change too much. I can see why eBay have done it. Right, I can see why eBay have done it to sort of match vintage and try and draw some of the crowd back to eBay. But there are so many things eBay could do instead. Like, make the listing process so much easier. We don't need that many blimmin' categories. It's just ridiculous. No one is searching for, you know, where a t-shirt was made. Like a new t-shirt. It's going to be made like Bangladesh or India or something. No one cares. Like, so many categories there, like themes, characters. You know, I'm selling a pair of I don't know, Nike Blazer trainers. There isn't a character. It's not Disney themed or whatever. Why is that category there? Why does it want you to fill it in? It doesn't make any sense. eBay, you're making changes in all the wrong places where, you know, so many people are giving you feedback about what is wrong with the website and the app, which, let's be honest, aren't the most, they're not like seamlessly integrated. There are problems between the two as well. And some things do one thing and other things do others, and it's just, it's a bit of a mess. Why aren't you making changes there from, you know, honest customer feedback, rather than just going, yes, that's what we need to do, we need to make more money? That's the problem. They're only going after the money, not really going after the sort of customer satisfaction, which is what's driving people away. It's becoming a bit of a tangent, but I'll go with it. It is frustrating. And I say, like I said back along, it's another change that will drive people away. Will it drive me away? No. But I just had to accept that I'm potentially going to be making less money per item with all the new fees and stuff. And also, items may take longer to sell if I'm pricing higher because people are basically undercutting me. But that being said, I may try and look for things down the line which aren't as competitive. You know, I don't want to be buying an item where there are sort of 50 others listed on eBay, because it, you know, you are racing to the bottom. Like a nice, like a plain blue Ralph Lauren polo. Not that I bought one for a while, but something like that where there's so much competition, you are just racing to the bottom of the prices. I want to be able to look for things that are more unique, you know, more sought after, perhaps harder to find, yes, but then people are prepared to pay more for it, even if you're paying up for it, because there is less competition. So, yeah, I'd like to think that with all this doom and gloom about this new update, and don't get me wrong, it is bloody frustrating, because, like I said before, eBay just does not care about its business sellers, the people who actually follow the rules and regulations and just try and do the right thing, whereas other people just flout the rules, get away with it, and are just continually rewarded with new perks. That's the biggest annoyance here. The fact that, like I said before, if you do the wrong thing, you get rewarded. You do the right thing, you get reprimanded. Doesn't work, does it? It's kind of like society in general, really, to be honest. But it's just, like I said, so frustrating. But we need to try and look past it. How can we adapt our sort of eBay shop to ensure that these new measures don't negatively affect us as much as possible? At least that's what I'm aiming for. Saying that, I haven't actually listed much clothing recently anyway. I haven't been picking much up. Anyway. But yeah, it's certainly food for thought going forward. Certainly not the news I wanted to wake up to today. To say, great video by Jim, prompted me to do this, and yeah, hopefully just articulate that it may not all be bad news for us business sellers, but there's definitely going to be some dark clouds looming imminently as a result of all this. I don't know how it's going to work. Maybe eBay might backtrack on what they just implemented. I don't know. It doesn't happen very often, if at all. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think, in summary, if eBay could just suppress the number of business sellers masquerading as private sellers, this wouldn't be a problem. Like, because they are competition. You know, they are another shop, another sort of outlet that we are competing with. Private sellers just listing a t-shirt on a bed or hung on a door frame, they're just getting rid of stuff. That's not a problem at all. It's the stealthy business sellers that are the problem here, and that are going to benefit from this update. But I'm just repeating myself now, so I'll probably stop there. It's it's a weird one. I had to make a video. I had to get my points across. It is bad. It's another very short-sighted update from eBay. Not going to please business sellers at all. Probably will prompt a few business sellers to convert their shops to private accounts, to be honest. It just make it so a private account is limited. So if you are selling loads and loads of stuff, you need to be prompted to a business account. You know, because if you're selling stuff privately, you don't need to list it all in one go. You can drip feed it. Like limited to, I don't know, like say 50 listings a month or something. You know, it's obvious who's a business seller. Go by the number of just repetitive listings, the quantity of listings, the prices being asked for. It's obvious. I don't know why eBay can't see this, but hey, they're just blind, aren't they? You've got, just sheep at the helm. But there we go. That's that. Anyway, that's enough said about that. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully it's informative. Next video will be more positive, I promise. So until that one, take care, and I'll see you soon.